What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video and welcome to your stimulus check update, stimulus package, and infrastructure update and daily news report for Saturday, June 12th. Hopefully you guys are having an incredible start to your weekend. Hopefully you guys have a great Saturday and Sunday as well. But let's get into the update for today. First off, just want to thank you guys for always hitting that like button. It really does help out the channel. But let's get into the update because this is actually some pretty interesting news that we're actually hearing coming out over the past couple of days. First, the amount of stimulus that the federal government has sent out over this past year is actually bringing on a whole new argument. Some are asking, did the stimulus checks do their job? And the answer is yes, the stimulus checks did their job. Some question, did the stimulus checks help out the American people? Many experts believe that yes, stimulus checks had a very big impact on what the American people were allowed to and able to spend their money on. And some are asking, will stimulus checks add to a greater economic deficit? Well, according to experts recently, they're saying no, not really. Even though the $1,400 stimulus checks that were just recently sent out, these are going to bring on a deficit of roughly $400 billion. Some are saying that right now, again, just right now, they are saying that the stimulus checks, even though they cost $400 billion, they will actually bring in more money into the economy than the $400 billion. So that's actually good news. So what many experts currently believe is that stimulus checks, as they stand right now, will only help those who receive them and will not hurt the economy. Again, more good news. So this actually ramps up the likelihood that we could potentially see an additional stimulus check. Some say that these payments help create a stronger economy, which would mean deficit spending will not last long. Yes, we put ourselves into a deeper and deeper deficit. The issue there is if we stay there. The good news is many experts and economists do not believe we will stay there. We will actually, this will be a wise and really good investment back into the economy and to the American people. So, why do I bring this up? Number one, I bring this up because a fourth stimulus check is still being considered. Experts believe that Congress will not pass a fourth stimulus check, however, until possibly September. And I've been saying this for a few weeks, probably even a couple months actually, that all signs point to if a stimulus check passes, it would pass in September. That would be after the unemployment benefits were to completely expire. So, if this happens, experts currently believe that this would be a one-time payment of roughly $2,000, maybe $1,000, possibly $600, but honestly at this time, nobody really knows. But what we do know is that many lawmakers, mostly progressives, are pushing for more relief to the American people. Some say that they want to not only see a stimulus check, but there's chances of universal basic income. If you don't know what this means, it simply means that the federal government would come in and give you a set amount of income every single month. This is universal basic income to help you with your everyday needs. So here's what we know. Right now, universal basic income is actually being pushed by many, mostly progressives. But some are saying that right now, this is something we can see introduced on a wider scale throughout the economy. We currently have dozens of different pilot programs in cities like Compton, California, Stockton, California, San Francisco. Here in Washington, I think we still have one in Tacoma, Washington. But there's a bunch of different ones going on. Right now, there's even talks over the past probably couple months of Los Angeles, California, getting some type of universal basic income program, another pilot program. But this would be the biggest one in the country. This would be the largest one in the country. And even Minneapolis, Minnesota, they're considering universal basic income of anywhere between $300 to $500 per person for the next 2 years. So that would be a monthly payment of $300 to $500 per month for the next 2 years. This would be another pilot program, probably somewhere around 200 to 500 different people, and it would help out many. It would help out many families. So There's other cities also paying between $200 and even $1,000 per month to their residents, to a certain group of people, as a pilot program. And these pilot programs, the point of these is to kind of show the state government as well as the federal government that yes, these do work and they are helping out this group of people. And if we do it on a wider scale, it would help out even more people. That's kind of where we're at right now. Even Representative Ilhan Omar, she said that she's going to introduce a UBI pilot program very soon into Congress. So we'll see what happens there. But as we're seeing this new push for universal basic income, and we don't know how Congress is going to react to it at this time. However, some are probably going to push back against it. But experts believe that in this current climate and this current economy where millions are gig workers who don't have regular benefits or who do not have a set income every single month, and it fluctuates, could fluctuate by hundreds if not thousands of dollars every single month. Some are saying that a guaranteed income is necessary, and this is where universal basic income is currently coming in. But experts also believe that by providing even a modest $300 per month, this would actually help out many Americans. This would allow millions, and I mean millions, to get off of the federal unemployment assistance programs. Okay? This could be things like SNAP benefits. This could be things like affordable housing, right? This could be things like free child care, free health care, right? These could be additional benefits. And this is where some lawmakers are saying we need to provide more to the American people. So right now, some lawmakers are saying that if we provide universal basic income, we would put the pressure, or we would put that responsibility on the taxpayer. That, okay, the taxpayer has to figure out where are they going to spend their money? Where will the American people spend their money? Are they going to spend it on food? Because with SNAP benefits, that's all you can do is spend it on food. Or if we give a $300 per month universal basic income to the American people, will they spend it on food? Will they spend it on housing? What will they spend it on? How will they decide? And this is where some say we need to give it the responsibility back to the American people, as opposed to telling us where and how we can spend our money. That's exactly what's happening with nutrition assistance, is we are being told what to buy, and how much we can buy every single month. But with universal basic income, if the money's still there, you can still spend it the next month. If you want to go buy a burrito at the gas station, you can go and do that. You don't have to go to the grocery store and buy something to prepare, right? That's kind of what some lawmakers are saying. If you want to give the rights and responsibilities to the American people, we need to do that everywhere, not just pick and choose. And so we'll see what happens there. But ultimately, some are saying that universal basic income would be cheaper than running multiple different government programs. So we'll see. But right now, there is a renewed call for the fourth stimulus check. Just keep in mind that as these renewed calls do happen, there'll be many that will push for universal basic income because they say that is what is needed. And I know you're thinking, universal basic income is never going to pass. It's never going to pass, right? I used to think this exact same thing. But let me ask you this question. What is the child tax credit? What is this monthly child tax credit payment that's going to start in about a month? It's June 12th today. So in a little over a month, on July 15th, that is when the IRS says they will be sending out the child tax credit payments of $300 or $250 per month. Depends on how old your child is. Now, isn't this monthly child tax credit payment, isn't this technically a form of universal basic income? Yes, it is. This is exactly what it is. And so right now, some are saying that President Biden got universal basic income into this legislation, into this bill, into this passed stimulus package, but he called it stimulus. So even though it's not universal basic income, it's actually stimulus or a child tax credit. It's technically a form of universal basic income. So We will see, but it does look like Congress is willing and able to pass more of a universal basic income. Some say it will most likely be an additional child tax credit, but, and here's where it really gets interesting, some are saying that the universal basic income as a child tax credit only helps people with children. That means people without children, people, elderly, people on Social Security, their children have grown up and now are off to college or whatever, over the age of 18, doesn't help them. So it technically isn't universal. So we'll see what happens, but what I can tell you right now is that there are renewed talks of additional stimulus checks, universal basic income, and some are planning on hiding those behind another tax credit or another way of getting additional relief to the American people. My personal opinion, if you want it, is if the American people can be helped, great. If it doesn't put us deeper into a deficit, awesome. But the problem is, how do we pay for things and how do we give the American people what they need to get back the lives that they once had? That's the issue. And trying to get all of the 50 Democrats in the Senate on board, that's going to be the difficult task. But we will see what happens as we get a little bit closer to seeing where this infrastructure package and negotiation actually goes. So, speaking of what is coming though, okay, here's what we know. Many states are actually considering providing additional stimulus checks to the American people. We've seen some states and some cities already do this. What we know right now is Oregon lawmakers are actually proposing a bill to provide their essential workers with some form of hazard pay. Right now, what is being considered is $2,000 per person in hazard pay. Now, I want to mention this because I think this is extremely important, not only for people in Oregon. I live in Washington State, so we're pretty close, but I want to mention this because this is something we're going to see from multiple other states as well. Here's what I can tell you. Right now, the $2,000, and this isn't monthly, this is a one-time $2,000 hazard pay. This would go to all workers that have stayed in their job throughout the pandemic. If you were laid off, okay, but then you came back to work because the business opened, right? You should be able to get $2,000. But if you've been on unemployment for the majority of this pandemic, you would not get $2,000. However, you would still get $1,200 as a back-to-work one-time payment, kind of a bonus. So that's actually good news. Oregon is planning on giving almost every single one of their residents, if they've worked or are working, they will give them at least $1,200 up to $2,000 as a one-time payment. That's every single working person in the state of Oregon. Now, Oregon received about $2.6 billion from the past stimulus packages, and they plan on using that money here. This package or this proposal would cost roughly $450 million from the stimulus package. So they're actually saying that would be a good use of funds to provide for their residents. Now, again, I wanted to bring this up because more states are considering stuff just like this. We've seen other states already do things like this. Some cities already have. Your individual state may or may not provide additional stimulus. They may call it something different. They may provide additional benefits elsewhere, such as rental assistance, nutrition. They may just send money to certain counties and cities so that they can do with it as they wish. But just keep in mind, right now, states do have a surplus of money. I believe every state at this point has a surplus of money. So right there, this is just another indication that right now, we are most likely going to see more and more states jump on board with additional stimulus and relief to the American people. So as I know more there, and as I know which states are going to provide this and what they're going to provide and how you can receive it, I will keep you updated on everything that is going on. But here's something else that is going on right now, and I want to be 100% clear with how this is working out. What we know right now is President Biden, he is actually telling Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer to keep the pressure on and go ahead and cancel up to $50,000 in student loan forgiveness. He wants Congress to do this because President Biden has stated multiple times that he doesn't think he has the executive authority to cancel student debt, and it must come from Congress. However, if Democrats can get the backing from moderates in the Senate, and this is where things are really breaking down, is if Democrats like Chuck Schumer, okay, if he can get the moderates on board like Kyrsten Sinema and Senator Joe Manchin, then canceling up to $50,000 in student debt is possible. However, experts currently believe that right now, $10,000 in student loan forgiveness is going to be the most likely option or scenario, simply because moderates don't support up to $50,000, and Democrats, or the majority of Democrats, want to see some type of student loan forgiveness. Up to $10,000 in student loan forgiveness would be a substantial amount, and experts believe that this is something that we could see. And again, this is at least according to reports out this morning. They are saying that they do not believe this student loan forgiveness would be in a package with real infrastructure. However, they do believe student loan forgiveness, possibly something for Social Security, and stimulus checks could be included into the social infrastructure package, which would most likely pass through a budget reconciliation. So we do know at this time that student loan forgiveness would be part of a budget reconciliation because it would impact the federal budget in more ways than just one. Right now, student debt forgiveness isn't something that just a few lawmakers are pushing for, though. Okay, this is something that a lot of people want. This is something that the top lawmakers, the top brass, are really pushing for. It's also getting the support of more Americans, and more people, students, obviously, but it's actually getting, just recently, actress and activist Alyssa Milano. She actually started pushing for this as well. She actually went to a kind of like a get together where she is pushing for student debt forgiveness as well. So we'll see what happens there. But right now there is a lot more support going behind this. So we'll see who gets more backing. Will it be more progressives? Will it be more moderates? We'll see. But right now, what I can tell you is things are getting closer to the end. Now, in other news, there's a few stories I just want to bring up really quick. The first one regarding Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs is saying that the unemployment that are currently expiring for the 25 Republican states, that they will most likely boost hiring by roughly 150,000 jobs in July. They say it'll be about 400,000 in September. We don't have an estimate for August. We're going to skip that month. But Goldman Sachs does say that these 25 states only account for roughly 29% of the total job losses. So the majority of these job losses have yet to return from the Democratic states. And the reason why is because they are saying the Democratic states are the ones that went on full lockdown over this past year. And those are the ones that are hurting and starting to come back a little bit slower. So we'll see what happens there. But that is where the majority of the current job losses are coming from, is from the Democratic states. We also know, and I reported on this a few days ago as well, is that there were 2 incidents on cruise ships. I only reported on one that was coming out of, it was actually in St. Martin, I believe. But there's actually 2 different instances where cruise ships, a couple of their passengers actually had positive COVID tests or cases. And that was actually on the cruise ship. One of those ships had a vaccine requirement. That was the one out of St. Martin in the Caribbean. The other one out of Italy, that one didn't have a vaccine requirement. However, both of these ships required a negative test before boarding, and they both conducted testing on the ship as well. And this is where they found out when they got to some of these ports that some of their passengers did test positive. In both cases, there were 2 people on each ship. Now, I want to bring this up because experts are saying that the key here is not necessarily the vaccine. The key at this point is the ship's protocols. This will be vital in keeping everybody safe on board, and testing on the ship. Those are the things that are being considered the most vital right now. According to experts, they are saying chances are these passengers, obviously they were around somebody that was positive at some point. However, again, and this is stuff that we're still learning, is if you take a test, let's say 2 days before you get on a ship, great, it may be negative, but if you were around somebody that tested positive, let's say a week before, you may not have signs yet. You may not actually test positive until a couple days after you're actually on board the ship. So this is something that experts are going to take a close eye on. This is something that the health experts and the cruise industry is going to be looking at very closely as well to figure out and monitor and adjust their protocols. So we'll see what happens there. And as I know more, I promise I'll fill you in on those updates as well. Also, according to the CDC, less than half of adults living in the following states have received at least one dose of the COVID shot. Those states are Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, and Wyoming. The 4 of the 5 are more down south. What health experts are saying is that the vaccine inaccessibility due to the socioeconomic barriers is a real concern for most of these states. But according to studies, Wyoming is so spread out that many adults don't feel a need to get a vaccine due to the lack of social interaction. That's currently what we're hearing regarding those 5 states. So that's what we know as of today. Like I said, hopefully you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Consider subscribing so I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on. Again, thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button if you enjoyed these daily uploads, and I'll see you guys on the next one.